Good afternoon, guys. I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to our today's lesson. And concerning our today's lesson, we'll continue from where we left, and that is discussing or revising about the first topic, whereby we discussed up to paleontology, if I'm not wrong. And so I would like very briefly to request one of you to remind us on what we discussed lastly. So please kindly, by a show of hands, let me request somebody to raise up the hand and remind us on what we discussed last time. Kindly, somebody. Somebody to raise up the hand. Somebody to discuss, remind us on what we discussed last time. Can I choose someone? Let's have Moses, or not Moses, Amos Maina. Amos Maina. Amos Maina, please. If you can hear me, Amos Maina. Amos Maina. Can you hear me? Amos? Amos Maina. Amos? Amos Maina? Can you guys hear me? You guys hear me? Yes, KELVIN? KELVIN Kariuki? KELVIN Kariuki?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes, very well.
Thank you so much. Now, Kariuki, please remind us what we discussed.
Last time we discussed on sources of history, and we dwelt on the unwritten sources. We started with oral traditions, where we said oral traditions were the information which is passed through word of mouth.
That's good.
We went to linguistics.
Yeah.
And said that linguistics is the scientific study of languages.
Good. And we said there are those keywords that you need to have once you are taught to explain what is linguistics.
Yes.
Do you remember the keyword?
The keyword was scientific.
Yeah, scientific study. That's good. Continue.
Then we did the disadvantages and the advantages of the said sources of unwritten history, in which we said some of the disadvantages of oral traditions were information may not follow the right chronological order, information may be biased, information may be made to dwell on the successes rather than on the failures of a community.
Yes, Kariuki?
Yes?
I can hear you. Continue.
Yes, we said some of the disadvantages of oral traditions were that the community was their successes were dwelt on more than their failures.
Yeah.
We also said that information may not follow the right chronological order.
Yes, that's true.
Information may also be biased.
Yeah, that's true.
And information may be exaggerated.
Yeah, it may also be exaggerated. That's true. Then
when we come to linguistics, we said that if we have people who speak a common language, they might have a common origin.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you look at the variation in two languages which are almost similar, you can tell how long they have been apart. Then we also looked at the disadvantages of linguistics.
There.
Then we said among the disadvantages of linguistics, we said some words, like one word may have different meanings in different languages.
That's true.
In which you gave an example of nyoro.
Yeah, from the Kikuyu.
Yes, in the Kikuyu language meaning smooth, but in the Luo language it meant yesterday.
Yeah.
So that is as much as I can remember.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Congratulations. Okay, let me see somebody else who can mention something. Who else? Who else? Who else is that? By a show of hands, please, guys. By a show of hands, guys. Yes, anybody else? By a show of hands. Yes, Onyango? Okay. Okay, by a show of hands, please. By a show of hands, guys. Yeah. Nixon Jeru? Yes, Nixon Jeru?
Pardon me, sir. I have just joined. What are we discussing?
Oh, we were just briefly discussing or reminding ourselves what we discussed last time. So we were just going through whatever that we discussed, so that now, as we were waiting for a few guys who are coming in, so that now we can take on from the same point. Jero, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so Jero, please, kindly.
I remember last time there's a topic we studied.
I want to welcome you with a question, Cindy.
Okay.
Yeah, so mention to us anything that you remember, which we covered last lesson.
We covered sources of historical information.
Yeah.
We started with unwritten sources.
Yes.
We went through oral tradition.
Yes.
Where we said it is the passing of information from one generation to another by word of mouth.
That's true. Congratulations. Yeah.
We stated that it has advantages and also its disadvantages.
That's good.
One of the advantages.
Yep.
Some of the advantages.
Yeah.
We said it is entertaining and captivating.
Yeah.
Most of the times it is correct if being told by a participant of.
Yeah.
And we also say that it is it was one of the best methods of. It is one of the best sources of historical information, as illiterate people can also listen and obtain information.
That's true.
Some of the disadvantages were the dates. It is not the dates are not accurate, that it is mainly based on human memory.
Yeah.
That some communities might focus on the success but not the failures, hence misinterpreting information.
That's good.
There might not be a correct flow of chronological order in the telling of the stories.
Yeah.
Those are some of, I can remember, both oral tradition.
That's good. That's
Yes.
good. Okay, let me have KELVIN. KELVIN, no. Yeah, KELVIN Kamoitamet. KELVIN Kamoitamet.
Yes.
Yeah. Say something. I can see you have raised up your hand.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
I would like to ask a question.
Yes, KELVIN.
One of the advantages of linguistics.
Yeah.
It is useful in dating the migration of people.
I beg your pardon, please. Be loud, kidogo.
One of the advantages of linguistics,
yes,
is that
mm-hmm.
it is cheap since one needs to travel to the area of study.
It is?
It is cheap because one needs to travel to the area of study of the language.
Yes.
Yes.
How now you're asking how is it becoming an advantage?
Yes.
Now the difference comes in whereby if you compare it with other styles or sources of information such as like things such as utahitaji vitu kama za kurecord na sasa ukilocate utahitaji hizo vitu za now you need to construct the site, ndio?
Yes.
You will need maybe the machines and also somebody who is learned ama a skilled personnel.
Yes.
Of which now if you compare the two, which one is cheaper? Sini yenye unahitaji tu just to submit yourself to that place and then you get to learn the language. So that's why we are saying it has an advantage whereby it's cheap because now you are required just to pay for the transportation, maybe accommodation and meals, and that's all. But if you compare it with other sources such as archaeology, you will require capital to build a site, buy the machines. Also, you will require to employ maybe a skilled personnel, a laboratory whereby you will store those artifacts, and I'm a museum maybe, I'm an archive. Are we together?
Yeah.
So that's how it's coming through. Have I answered it well?
Yes.
Yeah. Manuel? Welcome. Manuel?
Yes.
Yeah, say something. Yes, Manuel.
I have a question. Is oral tradition a time-consuming method?
Now, at times it's time-consuming because now, if you compare it with the other source such as written, for instance, a book you can read it at any point, isn't it? But now, for the oral tradition, there's an example of a source, kama ni linguistic, utahitaji to go to a certain place, you study about the language. If you go, if you maybe want to venture in kama ni the other source, kwa oral tradition, kuna archaeology, kuna linguistics. The other one is?
Anthropology.
Yes?
Anthropology.
Yeah, in anthropology, you just need time, go to that place, concentrate on whatever that is said. Now, if you compare it with maybe written, kakitabu you can carry it at any point, ufungue, upate point moja mbili, and then you continue. Kama ni films, pale kwa recordings. So are you getting how it's time consuming? You need time to concentrate on whatever that is being said and also avail yourself to that certain point. Okay. Yeah, now let me If you allow me, let me introduce whatever that we are going today to read about. Now, today I told you guys that we will venture, I'm gonna discuss something about archaeology. Sindio?
Yes.
Manuel, on behalf of others,
Yes.
did you do that?
Yes.
Okay, now, those guys that are writing, maybe you can now write somewhere. You can take some notes, whereby we said, for archaeology, definition. Now, you might be asked, what is archaeology? You might be asked, what is archaeology? And once you ask what is archaeology, you can give this definition and say, this is the study. Ukiuliza what is archaeology, you just say, this is the study of man's past. This is the study of man's past. This is the study of man's past through analysis. You say it is the study of man's past through analysis of the remains. Through analysis of the remains of material culture. Tumesema it's the study of man's past through analysis of the remains of material culture. Tumesema archaeology is the study of man's past through analysis, study of man's past through analysis of remains of material culture. Past remains of material culture. The key word there you should never forget the man's past remains. Na pia analysis of remains of material. The word remains of material culture. Those are the key points ama keywords that should guide you always. Alafu tukasema, in most cases, the remains of material culture, in most cases, these remains are found underground and have been excavated. To excavate ni ile kutoa chini. Alafu tukaendelea pia tukasema, the remains or artifacts. Now these remains, ukisikia jina artifact, ujue ni hizo remains wanaita artifacts. So the remains or artifacts includes, so now you can note it down. Remains ama artifacts. The artifacts includes tools, houses. They includes tools, houses, weapons, utensils. Tumesema tools, houses, weapons, utensils, caves, foodstuffs. Tumesema tools, houses, weapons, utensils, caves, foodstuffs, and paintings. Then we also said the archaeologists, now I'm discussing, the archaeologists have to locate historical sites to begin their work. They now have to identify or locate an historical site in order now to begin their work. Then from there, kwa hii archaeology, now, munakumbuka, mukafunzwa something concerning the methods of dating sasa hizi fossils. Ama zile remains sasa zenye tumepata, kuna fossils, hizo remains. Andika hapo kwa subtopic maybe, methods of dating fossils. Ama let's now know about these methods of dating fossils. The methods of dating fossils. methods of dating fossils. Uanze useme, it is important in arriving at the age. It is important in arriving at the age of fossils, fossil remains. It is important in arriving at the age of fossil remains. Uweke full stop, umalizie ukisema, these methods helps to determine when a certain development took place. Tumesema, these methods helps in determining when a certain development took place. Help in determining when a certain development took place. Then you say the methods includes chemical dating. The methods includes chemical dating. Then the other one is radiocarbon dating. So, okay, sorry, I forgot. The first one is chemical dating. Alafu pale kwa chemical dating kuna tusaba methods. So the first one is chemical dating yenye. Kwa hii chemical dating wanatumia two ways. Ya kwanza ni radiocarbon dating. Na ya pili ni potassium argon dating. Tumesema ya kwanza ni pale kwa chemical datings. Pale wanatumia chemicals ni radiocarbon dating. Ya pili ni potassium argon dating. So the first method is chemical dating. The second method ni stratigraphy dating. Stratigraphy. S-T-R-A-T-I-G-R-A-P-H-Y. Stratigraphy dating. The third method is known as geological dating. Geological dating. And then the other one is statistical dating. Then the other one is fission track dating. Brian, can see you have raised up your hand. Brian. Yes, Kelvin, can you hear me?
Excuse me.
Yes, come with a mate.
Yes, what have you just said? The other way of the point after chemical dating.
Yeah, nimesema kwa chemical dating, iko divided into two sub branches. The first one is radiocarbon dating.
Yes.
And the second one is potassium argon dating.
Oh, thank you.
ARGON, argon dating. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I have somebody else who has raised up the hand. And that is yes.
Chair.
Yes, Emmanuel.
Please repeat the last method of dating that you mentioned.
Oh, fission track dating. FISSION. Fission track dating.
Okay, thank you.
TRACK.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. You okay?
Yes, sir.
Steve?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask about lexical dating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was now to add it. Inaitagwa lexical statistical dating. Yeah, lexical dating. It's also another method, lexical dating. Is it okay that way?
Yeah,
Oh, please
okay.
spell lexical.
Oh, lexical.
Yeah, please spell.
Okay. Emmanuel?
Yes.
What are you saying? Yeah, I can hear you.
Please spell lexical.
Lexical. Steve?
Okay, it's spelled L-E. X-I-C-O. Dating.
Yeah, lexical dating. Lexical. Umeipata, Emmanuel?
Yes.
Okay, let's continue now. From there, we need to remind ourselves about the disadvantages. We can maybe start with the advantages and disadvantages. Then from advantages and disadvantages, start trying kwa hizo methods. We remind ourselves on definition ya kila moja zenyewe. Is that okay? Now, maybe we can start with the disadvantages, or we start with the advantages. Which one is the best? Yes. Kelly? Kelly? Kelly, can you hear me? What's up? Kelly, can you hear me? Yes, Kelly, can you hear me? Okay, now maybe we can start with the advantages. Kelly, I can't hear you.
Yes. So, yeah.
Yes, Kelly? Kelly? Okay, Kelly, let's now start with the advantages. Idris? Juma?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, what are you saying? Ask.
I wanted to say one advantage.
Oh, that's good. That's good, Juma. Give us one advantage of archaeology. Am I using archaeology?
It gives accurate information on material culture of early humans.
That's true. Let's note it down. It gives accurate information about the material, culture of the material, materials culture. That's true. Then, let me see somebody else. Mohammed Adan? Adan? Mohammed Adan?
It links history.
Yes, Mohammed?
It links history to...
Be audible, please. Mohammed, sauti kidogo.
It links history to laboratory-based science.
It makes history?
It links history to
yes.
laboratory-based science.
Yeah, it makes history, laboratory-based science. That's true. Yes. So please note them down. Yeah, that's good. That's good, Mohammed. Let me have somebody else. Who is that? Let me see somebody who has not spoken. Kamau? Kamau? Can you hear me? Kamau? Okello? Okello, can you hear me? Okello, yes, can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, give us.
It gives a sense of time to historic events.
It gives a sense of time when?
To historic events.
Yeah, to
Through dating.
historical events. Yeah, it shows us when maybe the events occurred, happened. That's true. Newton. Newton.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Newton Mudaura. Newton, Newton. Newton, can you hear me?
I can.
You can hear me? Yeah, give us one advantage.
There is some sense of truth because artifacts can be seen.
Sauti kidogo, Newton. There is?
There is
Newton, there is?
some truth since artifacts, some truth in it. Since you can see the artifact and touch them.
There are some proofs you can get through?
There is truth in it. Since you can touch the artifact and see them.
Yeah, unapotea. You are saying there is some truth in it since you can see the artifacts.
And touch them, yes.
Okay, it gives us a sense, some truth whereby you are able to touch and also see the artifacts. Also, you actually need to note this one. It complements, you can note it down, it complements other sources such as linguistics. That's another advantage. It complements other sources such as linguistics and paleontology. Other sources such as linguistic and paleontology. And also another one is that it provides information of varied nature, provides information of varied nature, provides information of varied nature, provides information of varied nature depending on the material found on the site. Varied nature depending on the material found on the site. Are we together up to there? Then from there, at least with that one, I can see guys can remember some advantages. Let's very quickly discuss the disadvantages. The disadvantages of using archaeology. Disadvantage ya kwanza, I can maybe start. Ya kwanza ni kwamba the dates suggested are not totally reliable. The dates suggested are not totally reliable. Kumbuka kama ni mifupa tumepata maybe ya someone, we'll just say they are rated back maybe the 19th century and maybe the 18th century. So that is the first one. Tumesema, the dates that are given are not very, totally reliable. Then we can now get another one from J. Yes, J. 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 Can you hear me? J. J, can you hear me?
It is time consuming.
Yeah, that's true. It is time consuming. Everybody to note that one. It is time consuming. Alan, can you hear me? Alan?
Yes.
Yeah, give us one.
It requires experts.
Yeah, it requires experts. Another one. Then another one, let's be given by Emmanuel Kariuki.
Some artifacts or fossils they break during excavation heads formation.
During the excavation, what you mean? During the excavation, some artifacts may be therefore fragile, so they will be damaged. Maybe they can down, maybe come on the joints. That's true. Then we have also, let's have Katis. Katis, can you hear me? Katis?
Yes, I can hear you. It is limited to the study of ancient period and not recent history.
Good on studying things concerning the ancient. That's true. Then another one, it is also to locate sites zenye unaenda kufanya research, and also to be supplemented by other sources. They also has to be supplemented by other sources. It has to be supplemented by other sources. And with that one, I think we are good to go. So let's very quickly remind us also about ourselves, about go through anthropology. Anthropology. Anthropology kwamba you can note it down, the definition of anthropology. Anthropology useme, this is that of social and cultural institutions of man. It is the study of social and cultural institutions of man. That is his origins, that is his developments, customs, that is his origins, developments, that is his origin, that is customs, kinship ties, marriage, affiliations, religious practices, and economic activities. So anthropology is the study of social and cultural institutions of man. It is the study of social and cultural institutions of man. Now, after having known that one, you are required to know the advantages and the disadvantages. So let's start with the advantages, and I will ask a few of you to remind us, discuss with us on the advantages.
Yes, information is easily obtained.
Yeah, we easily obtain the information, by the use of anthropology. Good, that's an advantage. Let me have James John. James John, can you hear me? 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 Samuel Rukenye. Samuel Rukenye. Samuel. Samuel.
Implements other sources.
Yeah, it implements
complements other sources of information.
Yeah, so it complements other sources of information. Good. Okay, that's true. Then also, let's have a who is that? Let's have a Charles. Charles.
Yes.
Charles, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, give us one advantage.
The information is easily obtained.
Yeah, we easily obtain information. That's true. You can say another one is that it helps determine the culture, cultural past of the people. It helps determine. And also another advantage is that it gives a deeper understanding of a particular aspect. It gives a deeper understanding of a particular aspect of a people's culture. Okay. Then from there, we actually go to the disadvantages. And now let's remind ourselves about maybe five or more disadvantages. Disadvantage ya kwanza ni it is time consuming. Disadvantage ya kwanza ni time consuming. So I've given the first disadvantage, it is time consuming. Then now let me appoint a few guys to give us. Brian. Brian Nyamoya.
It's expensive because it is expensive.
It is expensive. It is expensive because
it involves living among the people.
Yeah. It is expensive because, Brian?
Living among the people.
Brian, I can't hear you.
It is expensive because it involves living among the people.
Then the other one is another person to discuss is Brian Otieno.
The anthropologist may risk losing his or her own culture.
Good. Yeah. The anthropologist is at risk of losing his or her own culture as a result of maybe going to study about someone else's culture. We actually have let me have Tom. Tom, can I hear you? Tom, I can't hear you. Tom, I can't hear you. Tom? Linus Kamau. Linus Kamau. Linus Kamau. Linus.
Yes.
Yes, now give us an answer.
The researcher may miss important details since people may try to behave differently when the researcher is around.
He might not get the information that he needed as a result
Yes.
of maybe people hiding.
The people may be trying to behave differently as he is around, or he or she.
They might, they will hide some information because they might be tempted to think he or she is a spy, maybe. So that's
Yes.
what you mean.
Yes.
That's good, Linus.
Thank you.
Welcome. Then let's now continue. Let's continue by trying to discuss. Let me see, somebody else has raised their hand. Let me give somebody a chance here. Somebody who has not spoken. Somebody who has spoken, that is Carlos Motuma.
Yes.
Yes, I can see you've raised up your hand.
It is time consuming.
Yeah, it's time consuming. That's good, Carlos. That's awesome. Let me have somebody who has not spoken. Adrian?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, give us an answer.
Teacher, I wanted to answer another question, but my answer has already been said.
Yeah, you can just repeat. It's okay. You can just repeat because now it's your chance.
Okay, teacher, pardon, what was the question?
Wait, Adrian.
Yes, sir.
Unataka kupeana answer gani?
No, teacher, you see, okay, one may not be able to adapt to the conditions.
And also may not easily adapt to the culture, may learn easily about the culture that he or she is studying about.
Yes.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Now, from there, after tumejua the advantages and disadvantages, let's very quickly remind ourselves concerning paleontology. Now, kwa paleontology na pia genetics, we'll just note them down by knowing the definition. Then I'll give you some work. Maybe you, not even maybe, I'll give you some work. You do, you research about the advantages and the disadvantages of each of them. Now, kwa paleontology, ukiuliza what is paleontology, you actually required to give the following definition. You're required to give the following definition. This is a study of the evolution and structure. It is a study of evolution and structure of. It is the study of the evolution and structure of the extinct plants and animals. Scientific examination. Tumesema it's the study of evolution and structure of extinct plants and animals through scientific examination of fossil remains. They provide details on the physical characteristics of the early forms of humanity. And then now I've given you some work to report the advantages and the disadvantages. And then you actually also required to know what is genetics. Na pale kwa genetics, you are required to define it. Ukiulizwa what is genetics, useme, this is the study of ways in which characteristics. It is the study of ways in which characteristics are passed from parents to offspring, from one generation to the next. What is genetics? It is the study of ways in which characteristics are passed from parents to offspring, from one generation to the next. Seven. Yeah, the description says it is the study of ways in which we are saying it is the study of ways in which it's the study of ways in which yeah, tunasema, so then I define, sorry for those who could not hear me, tunasema genetics is the study of ways in which characteristics are passed from parents to offspring, from one generation to the next. Parents are passed to offsprings from one generation to the next. Alafu kasema, it helps historians to trace the origin of domestication. It helps the historians, ama inatusaidia kujua the origin of domestication of crops and animals. It helps historians to trace the origin of domestication of crops and animals and their spread to different areas. Alafu useme pia ama ujue kwamba let me please very quickly repeat the definition for genetics. Genetics, ukiulizwa what is genetics, useme, unafaa kusema, this is the study of ways in which characteristics are passed from parents to offsprings, from one generation to the next. Tukasema, it helps us as the historians to trace the origin of domestication of crops and animals and their spread to different areas. Yeah. Sasa kwa hii ya genetics itusaidia sana sana kwa ile topic yenye tutasoma about the early agriculture in Egypt, Mesopotamia, sijui wapi. Kuna zile theories zenye tutazipata pale ambapo kuna diffusion theory na one area ama the independent theory. So let me stop from that point because we shall continue with it when we reach there. Let's cross the bridge once we reach it. Now, napofaa pia kujua pale ni kwamba it also explains how and when. It also explains how and when certain strains of plants how and when certain strains of plants came into existence. How and when certain strains of plants and animals came into existence. Now from there, we now go to the written sources. Written sources of information. Ni kwamba kwa written sources, mtu akijaribu kujiuliza maybe at the back of your mind what is written sources, unafaa kujua these are the recorded information, and also it is the principal source of history. It is also the principal source of. Now, we have the forms of written sources. Forms of written sources in history. Ya kwanza, first is inscriptions. The first one is inscriptions. P-T-I-O-N-S, inscriptions. I know many will ask themselves, I must try to ask, what are the inscriptions? Inscriptions are the forms of inscriptions. And you can define and say, these are the earliest inscriptions in the earliest forms of written sources. These are the earliest forms of written sources. These are inscriptions. These are the earliest forms. These are the forms and sources. The earliest forms of written sources. Earliest forms of written sources of history. Written forms of written sources of history, and they constitute words engraved on statues, walls of tombs, and coins. Statues, walls of tombs, and graves. Statues, walls of tombs, and also coins. Another one, another source ni diaries and journals. Diaries and journals. Diaries and journals. Diaries and journals. We can maybe very quickly define listen. You may come on Facebook. Diaries, ujue. These are records of daily events. These are records of important personalities. It gives cue on important events. Cues on important events during the time the person is reigning, during the time the person reigned. Another branch ya written, another form of written source ni historical books. Historical books, definition yake ama examples yake ni kwamba, ama you can say they include biographies and also autobiographies. Historical books are such as biographies and autobiographies. 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 Halafu another form ya written ni the print media. 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 Wale kwa print media ni kwamba this one includes ama examples ya print media ni kama vile books. Print media ni kama vile books, newspapers. Print media. The print media includes books. They includes books, newspapers, and also the magazines. Books, newspapers, and the magazines. Now, let me be understood here. Written sources ndizo hizo zote tumezi highlight. But once you are asked to give maybe 2 examples of the print media. 2 examples of the print media. Vitu kama stone tablets haiko kwa print media. So that's why I have categorized them. They are examples of the written sources, but under those 2 different subcategories. I hope everybody has differentiated now how a question can come in. Now, maybe because now the examiner might be knowing that maybe the learners know, oh, these are examples of the written sources, but then he or she comes in a different way and asks you to give 2 examples of the print media. So you'll just be able to know ni zile zenye ziko printed, zile zenye zimeandikwa lakini through printing. So that's how you're able to, ama you should be able to differentiate. And then now very quickly, let's go to the advantages. Advantages of these written sources. Now, and with anything that has got some advantages, it has to have some disadvantages also. The first advantage is that they are widely read, since most people are literate. They are widely read, since most people are literate. Widely read. Widely read, since most people are literate. They are widely read since most people are literate. Ya pili ni kwamba tumesema advantage ya kwanza, they are widely read since most people are literate. And then ya pili, they are more accurate than oral sources. 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 And another one is that the methods used in writing are comparatively, the methods used in writing are comparatively cheaper than those used in archaeology. The methods used are comparatively cheaper, than those used in archaeology. Methods zenye zimetumika ni comparatively cheaper than those used in archaeology. Then another one is that they can be easily translated to many languages. They can be easily translated to many languages. They can be easily translated to many languages. What we mean there is that something which is written, it can be easily translated without omitting maybe some information or exaggerating. If you compare it with something that is orally given, if for instance it's a story, once you are told a story about a story, you will tend to maybe change or omit maybe so many words as compared to written. So tukasema, they can be easily translated to many languages. And then the other one, lastly but not the least, is that they help in giving chronological framework. They help in giving chronological framework, which is absent, chronological framework absent from oral traditions. Chronological framework absent from oral tradition. 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 And then, very quickly, let's go to the disadvantages. Let's very quickly go to the disadvantages. Now, for instance, manuscripts can be grouped wapi? Pale kwa zile niliita inscriptions. Zile vitu kama tombs, wall tombs. So manuscripts ziko pale. And can I very quickly go through it very fast? So tulimalizana na archaeology, paleontology, genetics, pale tulikuwa kwa oral tradition. Sasa tumeingia kwa written sources. Tukasema written zile zenye zote ziko recorded down. Now, hizi written, they can be recorded in different forms. Kuna ile print media, kuna diaries, kuna historical books, na inscriptions. Inscriptions, example ya inscriptions ni vitu kama manuscripts, statues, walls of tombs, na pia coins. Zile writings zenye ziko huko kwa hizo places ndizo tunaita inscripts, vitu kama manuscripts and others. Ziko sasa walls of tombs, manuscripts, then kuna vitu kama coins, statues, hizo ziko pale kwa inscripts. Then from there tukasema kwa hii pia bado written, kwa hii forms of written ni kwamba kuna diaries na journals. Diaries and journals ni zile zimekuwa zikipatiana maybe the program of kings ama queens, vitu zenye alifanya certain day wakati alikuwa na reign. Then tukasema kuna historical books. Zile historical books tumezilist vitu kama vile biographies na autobiographies. Then tukasema kuna print media. Zile zenye zote ziko printed. For instance, we have the books, newspapers, magazines, among others. Hizo ndizo sasa nazo printed media. So ndio nilikuwa nasema, in case an examiner ama somebody asks you to give him an example of a written source which is under the print media, ama an example of a print media, kumbuka ni zile zenye zote ziko recorded through the use of printing. For instance, books, newspapers, among others. Haya. Core advantages nimepatiana very quickly, and now tumesema ya kwanza ni kwamba ziko widely read since watu wengi ni illiterate. So sorry, not illiterate but literate. Illiterate is the opposite of illiterate. And then advantage ya pili ni kwamba they are more accurate than oral tradition sources. Tukasema methods used in writing are comparatively cheaper than kutumia other sources such as archaeology. Then tukasema they also can be easily translated to many languages without the omission of so many words or exaggeration. Na ya pili ni kwamba zina give a chronological framework which is absent in other sources such as oral tradition. Pale kwa definition ya journals and diaries, I can see Steve is asking, ni kwamba tulisema these are records of daily events. Diaries and journals. Definition yake ama unafaa kujua these are records of daily events. They are the records of daily events. Daily events of important personalities like president. Important personalities like president, king or queen, president, king or queen, and they give cues, C-U-E-S, cues of information, cues of important events during the time the person reigned. During the time the person reigned. During the time the person reigned. And then now, during the time the person reigned. So that tuende kwa disadvantages. Disadvantages, disadvantages, disadvantages. Disadvantages ni kwamba disadvantage ya kwanza ya hizi written ni kwamba they are acquired through research. 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 Disadvantage ya pili ni kwamba it is not useful to non-literate. It's not useful to non-literate communities. It is not useful to non-literate communities. It's not useful to non-literate communities. It's not useful to non-literate communities. It's not useful to non-literate communities. Nyingine ni kwamba information may be absolutely and information may become, sorry, not maybe, sema, so that it can bring a good meaning. Sema, information may become absolute and inaccurate because information may become obsolete and inaccurate because life is dynamic. Hence, it is essential to update. Because life is dynamic. Hence, it is essential to update written records. Hence, it is essential to update written records. Another disadvantage is that it may contain a writer, it may contain a writer's biases, B-I-A-S-E-S, to be biased, ile kuegemea upande moja. Tumesema it may contain a writer's biases and therefore distort history ama the message. Therefore distort the message ama history. Therefore distort the history. The last one but not the least is that interpretations of written materials may vary. Interpretation 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 of written materials may vary. Now, let me very quickly introduce you guys to electronic sources, and from the historian point, once you hear it's electronic sources, you actually require to know it is it will deal with information that is gotten from sources that will involve electricity and the current. Then pale kwa electronic sources ujue kwamba there are four forms. There are four forms of electronic sources. 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 Namely, there are four forms of electronic sources. Namely, number one, microfilms. Namely, number one, microfilms. Namely, microfilms. Namely, microfilms. Yeah, maybe I can share with you guys something here. Namely, microfilms. Namely, microfilms. Let me share with you something on page 27. Something on page 27. Microfilms. Tumesema ya kwanza, microfilms, and you can write it down and as I try to sort your share. Microfilms, these are extremely small photographs. These are extremely small. These are extremely small photos. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I've shared with you the wrong thing. Okay, let me try. It's not that page 27. Let me share with you. Let me sort. Yeah, I'll sort before the lesson ends. Yeah, this page 27 ni mambo ya Portuguese and it's not this one. Let me drop it down mpaka pale chini. As you write it, tumesema microfilms. These are extremely small photographs of documents. These are extremely small photographs of documents. Extremely small. Tumesema ni extremely small. Extremely small photographs of documents. Extremely small. So I'm saying these are extremely small photographs of documents and printed matter stored in a film. Nimesema these are extremely small photographs and documents, photographs of documents and printed matter stored in a film. Ya pili ni radio. Useme, unaweza define, useme it captures words and emotions of an event as it was. Emotions of events as it was. Emotions of events as it was. Emotions of events as it was. Then ya pili ni radios. Tumesema it captures. Okay, not the pili. I can see the radio discuss ni kwamba it captures words and emotions of an event as it was. Then ya tatu ni audio visual sources. The audio visual sources. Sorry. Now click written records inatoa mambo ya contact. Yeah, the next topic after here. So let me take you. We are in topic one. Let me search so that it can update topic one. The first topic. So nimesema audiovisual sources. Tumesema this includes television films. We have the first one, television, films, and videos. Television, films, and videos. And then hiyo ingine, the fourth form of electronic sources ni databanks and databases. Databanks and databases. Databanks and databases. Databanks and databases. I'll have to define here as our last thing. Kwamba, these are large stores. Of organized information. Large stores of organized information that can be accessed in a number. Database, tumesema these are large stores of organized information that can be accessed in a number of ways by the user. Tumesema these are large stores of organized information that can be accessed in a number of ways by the user and very fast. E.g., for instance, the computer. E.g., 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 the computer. And now those are the examples of the electronic sources. So, kwa zile sources of information, kuna written and written na electronic, and we have covered all of them. Now, some work for you to do. Ensure that as we meet next time, you have at least 5 advantages and 5 disadvantages of electronic sources. Na kuna zile zingine nimepatiana pale juu, zilikuwa za genetics na paleontology. Ensure you have updated them. And then you remind yourself about the importance of studying history, kando na importance of studying government. Shika 10 importance of each side, ama maybe 8, a minimum of 5 each side. 5 on this side, 5 on the other side. Not even 5, a minimum of 8. A minimum of 8. So that in case even the question covers 10, you'll be having an automatic of 8, 8. Yeah. So here a minimum of 8 and a maximum maybe of 10. And now with that one, I beg this end our lesson. And I thank you so much for your time. Maybe I can give somebody a chance to say something and the lesson for us. Maybe let me see somebody I can give somebody who has not spoken. Caleb Maundu, can you hear me? Caleb?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, can you say something as you write the lesson for us, please?
I have nothing to say.
You can even greet the other men and say maybe a short word of prayer. Caleb?
Okay, let's pray.
Yes, Caleb?
Oh God, we thank you for the time you have been with us since the lesson started. Since the lesson started, as we are going to do our other activities, oh Lord, may you be with us. Amen.
That's good. So let's meet next time. Till next time, stay safe. Take good care of yourselves and be good to your parents. Have a nice